have our face-off ready. It will be Mr. Man for AM60s and Meadowhawk from 07. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
Queasy.
A little queasy? All right, I got the first question on this one.
All right.
And this one's for Meadowhawk. Meadowhawk, This is a big match. You guys are 07. You guys are 6 seed. Everyone's betting against you. How do you guys prepare? How do you practice for a match like this?
So we're sitting here, and I'm a franchise player. And we're going to talk about practice, not the game, not a game, not a game.
Well, yeah,
we're going to talk about practice.
Yes.
Like not the game that I go out and I die for every night. Not the game that I give myself every night. We're going to talk about practice. Practice. We're talking about practice.
Yes, I think so. Not the actual game. Like, how do you prepare? Like, do you study? Do you watch replays? Do you what do you put into this? What's the effort?
I mean, I need to show up. I know that, and I need to lead by example. But we're talking about practice. Seriously, man. Not the game. Not the game. We're talking about practice.
Okay. Yes. Sorry, but that's not
the game.
He's going for the Iverson.
I think he's ready to play tonight. Yeah. I think he's good to go.
I think he's good. So, Mr. Man, you guys are on top. Everyone's betting for you.
Practice.
Meadowhawk has something to do with practice. He's got some problems he's got to deal with. Mr. Man, do you guys have some problems at all with practice?
No, not really. It's just making sure that we don't get in our own heads, really. That's our biggest issue that we have to deal with. So
trying to deal with not being overconfident going into a game, coming from a position where...
overconfident and thinking that they will counter every single one of our strats perfectly and just stuff like that.
The whole he knows that I know that he knows that I know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So, Mr. Man, I do have one quick question for you. So, this is the first season in, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 seasons now where you guys are not going to be relegated at the end of it. How does that feel, all that hard work over the years paying off finally?
Definitely for the guys that have been on the team for a while, like Veggie, Morphic, Felix, and I, it feels really good. Some of the newer guys, obviously, they don't have that same feel because they haven't been on the team the whole time, but it definitely feels good.
Awesome. All right. Well, that said, Meadowhawk, do you have any final words about practice or anything for M60s and Mr. Man?
We're talking about practice? We're not talking about the game.
Well, now
we're talking about the game. I wish them good luck.
Okay.
Because it's not about the practice.
All right.
We're talking about practice.
Mr. Man, any final words for 07 and Meadowhawk?
Good luck and have fun.
All right, awesome. We will see you guys in the battlefield in just a moment.
Right at the end, did he dab?
He dabbed.
He dabbed that?
He dabbed.
I can respect that.
Solid.
Oh, gosh.
So, we are about a minute away from our first battle. Randall, you were talking about it a little already, that you feel that M60s have the edge as being the higher seed and the better record on the season. You still feel that's going to be true after the face-off?
I mean, Meadowhawk had something up with practice. I don't know what that was exactly. I get it. The Iverson, practice, playoffs. Why are you talking about playoffs? Which, I don't know if 07 can prepare well enough for AM60s. That's my question.
Now, do you think
that's really what I'm holding up on?
Do you think that has something to do with some mind games that Mr. Man was talking about? Maybe 07 and M60s are big scrim partners, and he's trying to get in the head?
Oh, that could be a thing. They are big scrim partners?
I don't know for sure, but let's assume they are. And
okay.
That he's going up there, spewing about practice.
Fair enough.
Makes you wonder.
Okay, it does make you wonder. But at the same time, what I'm thinking about is Aquatic is just good. They're solid. They need to not get in their own heads about, are they going to play counter games? Because when people start thinking about counterplay, it just gets into this whole mess of, what if they think or what if they do that? And then you just end up with strats that really are off of your style or your color. You can't do that. You need to stick to your game.
Let's hope they stick to their game in our first map of tonight.
Cliff, the most dynamic map in the league. Battles on Cliff always turn into desperate double-edged fights. Teams start from the same spots as they do in standard battles. The first base is located near the defender's spawn point, and the second is at the bottom of the hill. Sometimes teams split their forces and send several tanks through the 1-2 line to the left of the small hill, but usually both teams play at the center. The attacking team can send one of the tanks up to the lighthouse or behind it. Fast and quick-firing vehicles are better suited for this map, mainly medium tanks, including tanks equipped with autoloaders.
So we are into battle number 1, and the lineups come in as M60s bringing 5 Bat Chats, 2 Tier 9 Bat Chats, while 07 bringing a TVP, 5 Batchats, and a T54 lightweight. Randall, how do you look at those lineups?
All right. Well, I see a lot of Batchats, so I see autoloaders, and I think that one kind of speaks to pacing. Jump onto that. You're going to see autoloaders engage, go for your reloads, disengage. Now, whether or not we see an early strike, I'm wondering if anything like that's going to come out from 07, because we have an up and over Morphic, and Mr. Man right up and over. Behind him is out of sight, and that's going to be everyone from 07 taking the
This is going to play out well for 07. They're going to get free damage out of sight, getting tagged up, as is Morphic. Exo looking for some shots, and he has the easy out, so he's just going to drop down to the low ground. Meanwhile, Rox and Static just looking for some easy shots, but they are going to back off now. Right now, 07 have already gotten through a good portion of their clips. And
Morphic's getting really low. Out of sight's a one-shot as well, but Veggie and Felix, you see them on the far south side of the mid here. They're engaging its lead up. They've got a 2v1. They should be able to take him down, and that's going to be a kill. First going to 07. Aquatic has to recover, and they are on the retreats. Or no, that's going to be a counterattack, actually, up in the mid. But Dark Ninja's going to come in and back up.
Yep, and Static's on fire right now, and Felix and Dark Ninja looking for some shots. And Static just has to back off. However, 07 are in the driving seat right now. They are up on HP.
Yeah, and Exo
However,
might
only
be
by
able,
about 600.
Now, Exo off on the side might be able to take down out of sight of Morphic, so that's really nice for them.
Mr. Man goes for the ram, and then he gets the kill on Static.
Yep, 07's got this one in control. You were saying this a second ago. They've got the pace. They reacted in time. They made the decisive decision, and there it is. They're getting the kills. AM60s looks like they're just sitting around waiting for it to happen. They're waiting for the win to come to them, but that's going to be it. You see advantage. You got 3 tanks against 4 right now. Hit points, yes, a little bit back and forth, but
tanks are dropping right now for 07. M60s have 3 guns left. Can they clean it up? Veggie and Exo trading shots. Exo's out of shots, and Veggie finishes him off. It's all down to Warbander. A TVP on full HP. He has 3 shells left. He should find Felix, but he low rolls. He doesn't finish him off.
But now Felix is reloaded. Should be able to clean this one up. That should be game 1 in favor of both. Not bad. What do you think? That up and over right in the middle at the beginning felt sloppy to me.
Yeah, well, I think they were trying to catch 07 off guard. The last couple times that 07 has played on Cliff, they've tended to go towards the middle or towards some of those boosts, so I think they were trying to hope to catch someone out. However, 07 changed it up. They went more towards the 1-2 line, and they were in a great position for early damage. And so once M60s pushed over, Mr. Man and I believe it was Veggie just got caught out in the open there. They got focused out, and they bled almost 2,000 HP. Yeah. Now, the problem is in doing all this, they left themselves susceptible to an overmatch. Essentially, not all the guns went over for M60s. They had a couple laying back. And so 07 very quickly rotated to deal with it, and they just weren't ready for the guns in the south to just overmatch like that. Yeah. And looking at the damage, Felix and Veggie coming in there huge for their team, both getting through 2 full clips, 3,300 and 2,800. Meanwhile, Exo, Warbander, Makos, all doing decent, but just not enough.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We'll see how they have to deal with that afterwards. It's an opening battle. It's on Cliff after all, so just you throw out a strat, see if it hits. It doesn't. I liked the reactions that we saw from Aquatic. That was good. It was good control, but it could have gone either way in that one. I want to see how it goes when it switches sides.
Yep, so the other thing to note here between battles, Out of Sight is playing right now.
What's important about that? It doesn't
he
ring
has
a bell
missed
to me.
about their last about 2 weeks or so because of school and tests and other obligations.
You know, that's been a big thing this season. Because school started up right in the middle of the second round robin, so a lot of players actually had to redo their schedules around that. And you might have noticed that amongst a few teams, especially ones with younger members in them.
High comes to mind. Siebel the Tweet also comes to mind.
Yep.
In fact, Baby Halo for CD had to pretty much stop playing just because school was just getting so busy. And it is a thing that does affect people. And then you also have people that have real jobs. They have just typical 9-to-5 jobs, and depending on where they live, it can affect them.
But in this case, he's back today.
He's back today. He's playing, and that's big for M60s. He adds a lot to that team. He has a lot of flexibility. He's just one of those players that constantly is very good at just lurking in the backfield and just finding those angles to get those extra shots off. However, in this first game, he wasn't able to get in there. He got focused out early, went down, only doing a couple shots. But I would keep an eye on him because I expect to see him perform pretty well in a couple of these later battles.
Okay, we'll have to see if he's able to do that. He is coming off of the bench, so I'll give him a minute to warm up. But we are about to start battle number 2.
Teams are going to swap sides. Lineups looking quite a bit different. Now, looking at M60s, we've seen this from them before, and it didn't work. So we'll have to see if they can make it work this time, and what I'm talking about is bringing that T-54 first prototype. On top of that, they have 3 bat jets, 3 TVPs, and then that Mod 1. Meanwhile, 07 coming in with 6 bat jets and a T-54 lightweight. 07 sticking to the burst, however, M60s have decided to bring 3 TVPs. That gives them a lot of initial damage and a lot of just raw clip potential. How do you think those TVPs are going to fit in against this full bat chat lineup of 07?
I mean, I always look at TVPs kind of the same way. Sorry, guys, I'm going to be an old man, but back in my day, we had T-69s. And it kind of seems to fill that same role. Fires very quickly, does a little bit of damage, not as much as a bat chat, but you're going to be able to do these nice, brief engagements and be able to slip in a little damage where your opponent can't.
Yep, and looking at the setup for M60s, it's a very passive defense. They're using that Mod 1.
Notice the way Felix drives on that. I want to point this one out because it's a little slow right now. And notice the way that he kind of like hung on like the back lip of that instead of driving in the road. That's just... you got to appreciate those little tiny things about the way people drive to try and avoid opening volley fire in their direction.
Yep, but still trying to get the intel, still trying to get the top of their tank up and over so they can still spot everything.
Going for that brutal efficiency.
It's something that we see, especially just in generics, say in pub matches. Murovanka, for example, comes to mind. People try to surf that ridge and they poke over and they expose their whole tank. You don't really need to. You just have to go over just far enough to be able to light everything. And once you do that and you back down, you stay safe. So it's one of those fine skills that players like Felix have really kind of mastered over time. That said, the other thing I want to point out is just Morphic over here on this one line, in this Mod 1. We saw this before, and it didn't work. The problem is he tried to drive away, and he got caught out, the Mod 1 being an extremely sluggish tank.
Now, why the Mod 1 as opposed to the, actually, I guess now, considerable number of other choices you have of Russian tanks of the same tier?
Well, we asked Mr. Man about it in the face-off last time, and he said it was simply that they wanted a tank that could possibly survive for a bit longer. Now, why that's the option, the Mod 1, instead of, say, if you were going for that, why not an IS-3? Or
a little more speed.
Yeah,
also,
I mean, it gives a little bit more speed, but realistically, the Mod 1 isn't that much quicker than an IS-3, and it doesn't hit as hard.
You could say that. It's maybe... Yeah, that is an interesting thought. That's probably something we should hear. Tell us about it on Twitter. #WGLNA.
Yep, join in on the conversation. Let us know your predictions for both this match and Deja Vu coming up. However...
Up on the hill. This is something I've seen all season, and I want to talk about this one.
Go for it.
I love the fact that teams do this, which is they take control of the hill. You've got Makos right now from 07 up top, right? And then, in this case, Fosta and the T-54 lightweight. Coming around, down on the low ground. I love the combination of pressure from up top and then also nice flanking fire, because Fosta right now is below, and it definitely... Ooh, shots fired. Makos slipping one in onto Dark Ninja. I like those shots. Tricky to get in a bat chat, especially in this terrain.
Yep.
It's very easy to lose all of your gun depression up there.
Yep, another thing to look at, a position that we've seen used a whole lot this season is Bale's up at A5, a spot that got opened up recently because of the physics changes.
The TVP position way in the back. Sometimes we see...
Grill 15s.
Exactly.
We see them back there. I like the TVP back there a bit more because you can spread the fire out. The Grill has the longer reload. It does hit a lot harder, but the TVP has the potential to really take out a tank.
We got a few shots fired, getting traded back and forth. Leadup's going to take a little bit of damage. Looks like that's going to come from either probably Veggie, I think, over in the mid. He's currently off in, what was that, Delta 4?
Yep. And what I like about this out of M60s is they're set up to cover each other. They have these batchets and TVPs sitting at D3 and D4. And what they can do is they can crossfire towards the hill. So if, say, Makos or Exo try to go over towards that batchet, they're going to get punished just like that. And it's actually Bales in that TVP in the backfield that sneaks the shot into him. And right now, HP's almost even.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a second and look at this. I want to kind of take apart some of Aquatic's layout. So, Morphic, over here in Bravo 2, why down in the low ground? Because it seems we see a lot of light tanks on higher ground over in Bravo 1, or maybe further forward so that they have vision, a little bit more coverage towards the mid. Because Morphic's so far back, it feels like you could approach him without engaging, or without getting spotted, I should say. You're going to get into their side of the map. You're not going to get spotted.
Now, there's a couple reasons for that. One, we see so often teams only have to push down to C1, and they can get that easy isolation behind the buildings, and they can focus out whatever tanks down there. And so we see that a lot, and they end up not. The defending team is not able to trade out. And as I say that, Bales gets lit and he's taking a lot of fire from these Bat Chats, and he goes down. A great pickup there for 07. M60s already a tank down. Cliff has been a weak suit of both these teams through the whole season, but especially M60s has had some very bad matches on this map. Versus Siebel to Tweet, they dropped some points on here. It's just been a map that they've really struggled on all season.
And look at the way 07's moving around this, all right? You can tell when a team is working towards victory and when a team is being passive and saying, all right, guys, just wait for them to show up, get ready, do the crossfire, get the kills, focus someone down. It's okay. Everything's going to work out just fine. I promise. Everything's going to be great. And that's not my Trump impression. I realized that sounded too good. I'm not that bad. That might be a push. Rocks, lead if Warbender coming in.
Yep, they're coming in. They're going to get across the opposite side. They're going to get up against that rock. And as Makos and Exo go over onto Felix, they will focus him out. A bounce coming off the front of that Bat Chat. However, they do find Dark Ninja. Warbender picks up Felix, and this is great for 07. Still all 7 guns alive.
And they have the high ground. Look at this. Everyone from Aquatic M60s is forced into the low ground. This is over. They've got it. It's all about cleanup from 07 at this point. That's all it is. They're just going to get kill after kill. Mr. Man's going to be first. There we go. Good job, Mr. Man. I'm guessing Veggie next.
Yep, so they should be able to find him. Foss is even coming in from the flank in that T-54 lightweight. Morphic in that Mod 1 has pushed down the 2 line, and he will get behind them. However, I don't think he realizes the static is lurking behind on that G2 corner. It's just a matter of time right now. 07 are up by about 4,000 HP. All 7 guns remaining alive. And this should be a clean sheet, just out of sight, left alive in a full health Bat Chat.
Nope, not all 7 alive. That's Boston.
Caster's Curse, as it happens. Meanwhile, he's just going to look around. He has this little berm to work with. He may be able to pick off another 2. Exo looks to be pretty low. Static also a 2 or 3 shotter, depending upon the rolls. But Makos is going to go up and over.
He's going to fight. He's going to defend his honor.
Pump out those points.
Oh, you got to pad your stats.
Got to get that damage out.
It's all about that. End of the season. Those awards. That's it. Now, Aquatic is going to drop it to 07, so that's going to tie this one up.
Yep, that is going to be 1-1 overall. And the next map is a map where I don't know that 07 can do the same thing and get some points off.
Oh, yeah, because we're going to Mines. But before we talk about Mines, I want to talk about the strategy that we saw from Aquatic M60s.
Okay.
Now, I'm hesitant to be critical because I can't say that I've kept up with the meta as well as you guys. So that seemed really passive from Aquatic. That seemed really far back. Why do you put that many tanks in the low ground on Cliff? Cliff is a map where you have to control the high ground.
If you can hold those positions and not take any damage and just maintain those crossfires and do it very well, then it's a very strong position. And that's why a lot of teams tend to default to it, because it makes it very hard to push in. You have to be extremely coordinated to break it. And what happened here was Bales got lit from an extremely far distance. I believe it was Foston, that T-54 lightweight, got around and lit him. And what happened is as soon as he got spotted, the Bat Shots on top of the hill just had to poke up a little bit further. They got the free shots, and all of a sudden that's a tier 10 down for M60s all
and
of a sudden.
Single point of failure for the strategy, because that TVP is obviously there to cover both the high ground and the low ground.
So the pivot goes down. So now the Bat Shots on top have free roam because there's no one else ready to punish them except for the TVPs in the low ground. However, at this point, 07 figured out, all right, let's just push both.
Okay.
So they had the push over on top of the hill. They dumped down on those guys. At the same time, the tanks over on the 2 line pushed up against the rock. They opened up that crossfire. And when you just have more guns able to hit one tank than the other team, it's going to go in your favor.
Well, and that's my criticism for that strategy from Aquatic, is that when those things happen, like you have one tank gets focused out because it's in a predictable position. Not saying that that position is bad, but that they let that happen.
Yep.
Then, of course, everything falls apart from there. There was nothing Aquatic was ready to do in order to react properly. It's like you lose that TVP, now you have to recover, and that takes 2 minutes to recover from, and that's not enough time.
Absolutely. That said, hopefully they'll have more time on this map as we go into our second map of the night.
Ooh, Mines.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations, but the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village, and the other one is in the water. One of the key objectives is the center hill. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets for cover.
Oh, now the camo's
Count the camos back.
So we are on to battle number 3. It is 1-1 right now. M60s coming in with a 113, 4 bat chats, a T10, and an M5355. Meanwhile, 07 coming in here with 07 coming in. Teams are mixed up there. Teams coming in with a 113, a TVP, 3 bat chats, a Skoda T50, and a bat chat tier 9.
Okay.
And right off the bat, 07 are going to make the climb on to the backside of the hill.
Leaders not going to make the climb.
Let it fail off, and the rest of M60s are going to roll up, ready for it, looking for any sort of push, and they're going to have to back off.
And there's control. So high ground goes to Aquatic, and you've got some kind of reaction. Makos doesn't make the jump. I don't think yes, he's stuck. He's got to go down. There he is. He's just done. This is Applewell all over again. There he goes.
Physics claims another victim.
Rest in pepperonis.
And Static's going to take some damage trying to get behind that building in that Skoda T50. A lot of damage, and he's finally behind. Meanwhile, Veggie does take some damage. The artillery still not able to quite find a connection for M60s. However, they don't appear to need it right now.
Yeah, because every time 07 has peeked out and had any damage for Aquatic so far this battle, Aquatic has had that and then some to return.
Yep, and this is the problem with mines, is you either need to go for it, you need to challenge that hill, and you need to make a brawl out of it right then and there, or you need to already be set up in these positions, because the second they take control of that hill, your map control is gone, your ability to rotate your tanks around is gone,
Yeah.
And
Your strategy needs to be focused around countering the hill if you don't take the hill.
Exactly.
That's it.
And at this point, because of they kind of halfway did it, they tried to get some takes up on the hill, then they failed it, and then all of a sudden they had to go to plan B, which involves driving in front of all these guns for M60s. And right now, M60s have about a 1,500 HP lead, and Veggie is really the only person that's taken any large amount of damage.
And even then, honestly, that's something you can deal with. Having over 1,000, you're good to play. Commodore fires at Bales over on the west side. He's climbing up on the hills right now and not going to take damage, but he's climbing quite slowly. He's still exposed, and there could be a shot snuck in.
This is such a great position for M60s because they already have a gun in their favor. So right now, Bales can get up on that 0 line, and they don't risk being overmatched on the main hill. They can still have 6 guns over there, which is 6 for 6 with 07.
Oh, and there's shots fired
What
again.
if?
He's still in the open. How does this keep happening to him? Poor guy. Oh, he's just trying to make a break for it. I see now.
So
I was wondering what he was doing over there, because it doesn't... I'm not a big fan of those buildings on the south side of mines. They're just kind of there. There's no particular angle I've ever found that's better than any other position on the map. And if you get caught there, it can be so dangerous to run away. Because, look at the positions that you had from Aquatic up on the hill. They have perfect coverage. You can't go... There's no escape route. There's nothing safe.
Yep, and Veggie just poking up there, getting the prox light onto those tanks tucked in under the hill.
And here we have Bales.
Static did manage to get unspotted and got up to the high ground at J6 in that Skoda, so he can hopefully sit there and try to focus on Bales. Bales is going to start blind firing over towards Warbandor in that TVP.
It's going right over his head.
We've seen him get some blind fire shots onto there. I think their match versus Rival comes to mind. He managed to pick up, I believe it was... who was it? I think it wasn't Zach Hume. I think it was Pub Whisper back there. Got picked up by Bales, blind firing in those bushes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. There's a few times when we've seen that this season. We're just perfect blind fire, or that one Artie shell just coming right on this.
Well, and that comes to mind in Tuesday's match from this from M60s versus Apex. It was Felix, or it wasn't Felix. It was their stand-in. I want to say Dark Ninja blind firing Canadian Impact. And as we say that, the M5355 just deletes Letif, takes him out of the server.
Good old backside of the hill on mines. People don't realize that when you're on the south side of that hill, you're not just Artie safe.
However, Felix is playing a very risky game here. He's moved all the way up to E1 with no one around him to cover. So he's just hoping that 07 don't have any guns around there. If Fossa is smart, he could push up and take out that artillery for free.
But every time you're faced with this decision, you know Artie's moved up. Now you have to counter it. You're not sure, do they have defense there, or are they risking it and saying, no, we don't have to. Oh, nice shot on
and
the
another
X.
shot. Just look how far down he is. He's moved all the way down to E1, so he has clean shots all along this backside of 07.
He's going to retreat now, though. He's getting out. He's fired just enough. You don't hang around there and keep waiting for someone to counter you out, because that's just going to happen eventually. Oh, Veggie
taking a lot of damage. At this point, though, M60's comfortably in the driving seat. They're up by about 4,000 HP.
They really could just push in now.
They really could. And the thing is right now they have the vision over 07. So they can sit here and just play these vision games, and anytime anyone from 07 pokes out, they're going to punish them. Static is a prime example here. Pokes out a little bit, gets spotted by Bales, and Veggie and Mr. Man are sitting there ready to return fire. And I just don't see any way for 07 to claw back into this. Another shot comes out from that M53-55.
I guess this is true, but it kind of assumed is that you are low on hit points, but 07 does have a lot of autoloaders, so if you were actually foolish enough to just walk in like that and not do what I am seeing right now, which is just what we need to see.
Perfect focus fire and deleting tanks one at a time. Exo's going to be the next one picked up.
Yeah, this is all you need to do. Just one at a time. Just find a tank.
Warbander in that TVP finding some shots on out of sight, so trying to trade him out here. However, this 113 is going to go ahead and aim in and take out Exo. 2 guns left alive for 07. We are moments away from this being 2-1 in favor of M60s. The first 1 to 5 qualifies for the regional finals. They're going to come here to Burbank on October 22nd.
Fosta got a kill. Found Felix.
Felix did get caught out.
There he goes.
2 guns left alive. Static taking some damage.
And we'll just have some 1v1 Static against Bales. And Fosta, well, that's Fosta. And that's going to be the game. Aquatic wins. So 2-1. This isn't, I don't think we're surprised up till now. There's nothing that's really caught me off guard. I think everything's just about expectations. But what's your judgment of 07 so far? What do you think Fosta is?
So right now, he's probably not in the greatest of mindsets. Definitely seems to be playing a little bit passive, a lot of indecision, and that was just kind of seen through the whole team. Once again, we talked about it during the battle. They kind of halfway went towards the hill. They committed a couple tanks towards the backside there, trying to get that climb. Letif did fail it, though. And then they had, I believe it was Mako's fail to boost over on the 0 line, trying to get up there. And they just, from that point on, they didn't really have a game plan. They couldn't retake the hill, but they were already caught out, and it just bled so much HP trying to find good cover. And now looking at it, just Felix, 3,400 damage in an M53-55. That is just disgusting on so many levels, and it's all up to 07 just letting them have free roam of that one line.
They played into an arty, from what I saw, because I've played a lot of mines. On mines, the way you counter the defense strats that you saw, like in the style of what 07 was bringing there, is bring arty and put it exactly where we saw it, and those strategies are years and years old at this point. Literally, doing that defense, that layout of tanks, that layout of Crossfire has been around for years. People know how to take it apart. What's weird is that we don't see as much of what I like to see out of the counterplays there. You see your opponent's got an arty. You see you're on mines defense. You know what you're going to bring. You know that the arty's going to at some point move up the one line, that west side, and counter out tanks.
Well, here's another question for you.
Yeah.
Team brings an artillery.
Yep.
You can argue to a certain extent they're playing with 6 tanks at that point.
Mm-hmm.
If you assume that, why is the defensive side with 7 tanks? Why not just go for a head-to-head brawl right off the gate?
Well, if you just do that right up the middle, you could be walking into a trap. So you could be ruining yourself. You can't just take 7 against 6 and say we're going to win. It's not going to happen, right? There's some days that doesn't just happen.
But when you bring a tier 9 artillery and another team brings 6 tier 10s, that means on top of having that one gun advantage from the 8 versus the artillery,
yes,
you have a tier 10 versus a tier 9. That's 2 things in your favor.
But you are bunching at that point, and that's one of the things that plays into arty. Clustering.
Yep.
So, sorry,
I
distracted from the opening tank lineup. What do we have? I didn't even...
So, M60s coming in here with an IS-4, a 113, 3 Batchets, a Grill 15, Mr. Man playing that thing once again, and Felix in the M40-43. Meanwhile,
here's the mid-fight waiting to happen. Sorry,
Dark Ninja, and they're going to bail out, so they're going to do the same thing. They're not going to challenge the hill. However, they do have Veggie and Dark Ninja on the backside there.
Were they trying to go up? I couldn't tell. It looked like they just kind of decided to stop, but they were getting ready to go up.
The benefit to being where they are is you're essentially already safe. However, the problem is that 07 doesn't have any artillery, so why they'd want to go there, I can't really speak so much. It is in great proxy range, and what the other thing it does is the other team can't really hit you until you push up. but this makes them constantly have to worry about someone being there. They can very easily retake that hill at a moment's notice. So it is a great opening position. Apex started doing that. They'd leave 2 or 3 tanks there. And once they realized that their team had tanks on the other side of the map, they had 3 bat chats plus the tanks on the hill entrance here where out of sight is, ready to just take that hill at a moment's notice. The second they felt comfortable and they had that overmatch, they'd go for it. And we're seeing something kind of similar out of M60s right now. However, if you look at their lineup, between bringing the artillery and they have that grill sitting down at K5,
Wait,
I don't know that they'll be in a great position to retake that hill.
Just maybe I'm crazy. Tell me, why is Leadif right behind EXO, and EXO is looking like he's not going to. Sorry. Okay. For just half a second, I thought they were going to put a grill 15 on the hill, but I've never seen that, so never mind.
I've never seen a grill do the climb on this map. I have seen, especially on Ghost Town recently, especially out of the EU. I've seen them use the Rheinmetall Scorpion Gs. They're fast enough that they can get up on a lot of the climbs, and all of a sudden you have a very hard-hitting and very accurate, consistent fire gun boosted.
The consistent fire is the thing that speaks to me. All that you ever want is you want a consistent fire tank that fires really fast and hits really hard. That's all everyone dreams of. But the choices you have are an autoloader, so you get to fire really fast with a nice break, or you can just fire consistently at an okay pace. That's what I like about the Scorpion. Kind of like the old Hellcat.
Yep, exactly. And we were just looking over at Warbanders sitting on that 3 line. I love that position out of them. Great shots down the 1-2 line. However, the thing is M60s don't have anyone down there, no one to be isolated. Their thing to note is right now.
Oh, there we go. Bales off in the hills. Sorry, interrupt.
Bales finding some shots onto Makos. 2 shots in so far. Fired a third. He's down to 2 shots. Makos just trying to poke up and around on either side of the rock, just making sure he stays alive. Dark Ninja is there to constantly proc light him. The thing that Makos really has to worry about right now is look in the distance there, that little artillery piece of Felix. I guarantee you his reticle is sitting there just zoomed in on either side of the rock, ready for Makos to make a mistake and give him that shot. And so often this season we've seen M4043s just punish tanks.
He just went for one, barely missed it.
However, Bales does put another shot into him, or excuse me, that was out of sight. Snapped a shot into Makos as he tried to run away. And now Veggie is going to try to get up onto that climb once again.
And Fosta going up to the hill takes a little damage. He pays the toll, as it were.
Yep, and the thing I don't like about this out of M60s is they have these 2 bat shots here on the backside of the hill. Our Dark Ninja will be joining them. However, trying to retake the hill right now with essentially 3 tanks against the majority of 07, I just don't think will pay off in their favor.
I think I see how it can work. So you jump up as Dark Ninja, as Veggie, right? You see Makos' current position, right? He is... Oh, that might be it. That's it. Right there. Makos is dead. That's going to be the push. That's going to call it. They should be pressuring right now if they dare. Dark Ninja goes up. Out of sight is pressuring in the mid. Veggie will be joining him momentarily. Although Veggie, I think he just fell off. Veggie just fell off. That could stall out the push because now Dark Ninja does not have the support he needs in order to retake the hill.
However, Morphic is trying to join the heavy tanks right now, and Veggie's just going to fall in line behind the heavy tanks, I think. Or is he going to go for the climb once again?
No, don't go for the climb. You've missed it twice already this match.
Yeah,
no.
He's just going to join the heavy tanks, and they're going to take the hill entrance head-to-head. They are up on HP by about 3,000. So, and out of nowhere, that was team damage. Morphic shooting out of sight.
Why?
And all of a sudden, Veggie's getting focused down, and this just went from being a very good situation to a lot closer than it should be.
Those are just mistakes. That's it. It's
Jitters knowing exactly what's on the line right now?
I mean...
Making some mistakes in a match like this?
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that it happened, and that's what that is.
Let me paint a bigger picture for everyone right now. The winner of this match guarantees themselves, at a minimum, $35,000.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a minute. The winner of this match guarantees themselves at least $35,000 with the possibility of $90,000.
Yeah.
There is a lot on the line right now, and to see some simple mistakes like that, some simple team fire in a spot where it really doesn't need to happen, is just so frustrating as a spectator.
Yeah, it really is. It's probably going to stall them out a bit, but they are on defense.
They are up by about 1,800, so it's not over for them yet. Commodore and Fosta in those tier 9s are both below HP, easy pickups.
And look at this, 07's giving ground. So you're watching Leadif back off, you're watching EXO back off, where they were trying to take more and more control of the map. if they back off and they're going to get something for it, if they are able to actually draw Aquatic in, that's great. But what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing damage being dealt. I'm seeing Morphix taking damage. I've seen Leadev take a little more, Exos taking some. They're not
a lot
getting
of
the
damage,
gains.
just back and forth, out of sight, getting punished for being out of position. And another shot onto the lower plate of that IS-4. It's sticking out a little bit. Commodore's trying to line it up. He gets another shot. And all of a sudden, the HP is a lot closer. They're down to about 1,500. M60's still in control. They do have an extra gun alive right now. Morphic is without a gunner. Or without a driver, excuse me.
Sorry, Leadev on the one line.
Yep, he's pushing down there. He will get in behind the rest of M60s. And now this is going to leave an awkward situation for M60s. Do they sit in the middle of a crossfire with this bat shot behind them? Or do they push up and over into the rest of the guns of 07? Now, the problem is if they try to send anyone to go get Leadev down in the south, then all of a sudden 07's in a great position to then make that push and maybe claw back into this.
Leadev has to pull two. He has to pull two members from Aquatic for that to be worth it. If he can't pull at least two tanks, and look at the health.
Mr. Man lights him, and he hasn't gotten spotted in return. He's lining up that shot, but Leadev backs up into cover, so he's good for the moment. However, he doesn't know where he's getting spotted from. He's poking around.
He can probably guess now.
He can. It's a pretty safe guess, and however, artillery does get a shot off for about 300, and this is looking still like M60's match. You got to remember, before this, they were 17-2 on this map, with both their losses being attacking losses.
And it's really good for Aquatic, by the way. It probably is Aquatic. It goes to them. Why this is important for them? They can still put a lot of pressure on 07. They can start...
And Veggie, in the distance, picks up Fosta, and this is starting to snowball out of control in favor of M60s.
Yes. Just don't let up the pressure. Don't let 07 get comfortable, because if they do, they could get themselves back in control. They could calm down. They could have a little pep talk, something like that. And all of a sudden, 07 loses one battle here, but they can come back. And you just keep putting that pressure on. You don't let up, and that can do a lot for you later in the match.
And finally, Dark Ninja, I was about to say gets killed, but he just crashed off the hill.
It's just unlucky driving. We had a lot of unlucky driving this battle.
The new physics have definitely added some challenges. As fun as some of the things can be, we've seen that a lot more this season than I feel we should have. Mr. Man's going to go hunt for Leadev. Leadev is down to almost nothing to this point where Mr. Man could essentially ram him if he wanted to. And he's going to look around the corner. He's going to look for the shot. I think he knows that Leadev is reloading. He doesn't get the shot off, though. Oh, but Leadev gets stuck on the rock.
No.
And Mr. Man finishes him off, sends him back to his garage, and it is all down to Exo. As soon as Exo goes down, it is going to be 3-1 in favor of M60s. M60s 2 rounds away from getting their spot to the regional finals on October 22nd. They are inching in right now.
Yep.
Round by round.
And they can keep it up. If this keeps going the way it is, we're looking at a 5-1 in my mind. But the next map is Himmelsdorf. And what do we have to say about Himmelsdorf?
We saw some very, very good play, and I want to say almost uncharacteristically good play out of 07 on Himmelsdorf on their last match last week.
Really?
Yep.
What about it do you think is uncharacteristic then? Because to me it just
so
seems like...
So far on the season, looking down at the record, right now, they are 5-12 overall on Himmelsdorf. Yet they managed to take both rounds against Siebel the Tweet with very interesting lineups.
What's interesting? Come on.
They had some very interesting bait and switches. They had some great traps. There was the one moment where Gabe just came across the 4005 and 350Bs in one alleyway.
Oh, yes. And the Enya thing, yeah.
Yeah, and as Dustin said, the let me have your bubblegum moment. I cannot even try to do that accent, so I'm not going to try to replicate it. That said, earlier I was talking about how effective out of sight can be, doing 3,500 damage in that 113. The match was slow enough to where he could really just keep working those angles. There wasn't any one big brawl that broke out where he was able to be really effective. It was just constantly just finding those little shots, punishing people that poked out in random angles, and he was just able to do so well for his team throughout that whole match. So good stuff out of sight. Good to see him back in that starting lineup.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Now, we are getting the countdown started. It looks like 07 is going to be starting on attack. So I think this is where 07 can start to come back. On attack, they can slow it down. You can still afford one more loss before this is pretty much it. And this is Himmelsdorf. This is a map where you can spend a little time, you can feel out your opponent, and then you can go for the attacks. Because as far as options go, Himmelsdorf feels like a map that you can reset. You can decide, I don't feel like this strat anymore. Let's back off and go reapply.
Absolutely, and we see that a lot. But the problem is sometimes when teams get 3 tanks on a cap,
Yeah.
it's a very big distance between both of those caps, and you can cause some very odd reactions out of both teams trying to drive back and forth defending both caps. So it's a map that I feel does favor the attackers to a certain extent.
Yeah.
That said, we are going to be on to our 5th battle in just one more moment. Let's see what happens.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
Anyways, we are on to our 5th battle of Himmelsdorf. It is going to be M60s bringing a 113, 250Bs, 2 215Bs, an E100, and a 1390. Meanwhile, 07 coming in with 2 113s, an IS-7, 3 50Bs, and a 1390 of their own.
I like these 350B strats. I used to really dislike the 50B in the way that it just seemed like a really large bat chat, and it didn't have the things about the bat chat that I used to love. So now when I see a 50B, I've realized that actually it hits just hard enough, and it has just enough damage and just the right reload and just the right maneuverability that on a map like Himmelsdorf combined with other tanks like IF-7s and 113s, it's a really great complement.
Now here's the question for you, Randall.
Yeah.
3 50Bs or 4 50Bs?
3. I don't like to overdo it.
Well, Apex apparently liked to overdo it because they were rolling 4 50Bs on Tuesday against M60s, and they were making very effective work of it.
What I'm not saying 450Bs is a failure. I say my preference is 3. I would prefer to have kind of the old 5100 IS-3s back in my day.
The dual splits that we used to see. We used to see 3 IS-3s, 3 5100s, and then a tier 6.
Yeah, which is translated here is IS-7s and 50Bs.
And I'd argue 113s have arguably replaced the IS-7s these days. We still see them in hold down spots.
Why do you like the 113 over the IS-7?
It brings a lot more mobility, and the DPM out of the gun is a lot higher. The drawbacks are the 113 does fire heat shells.
That's always been a kicker for me, because heat shells are so
And there's something about the gun handling with the 113. Well, neither gun is insanely accurate. I do prefer my IS-7 over the 113 just personally. That said, the raw mobility that these 113s bring, the ability to really get around a map, especially a map as large as Himmelsdorf, I think is very valuable. And the U100 snapping up a shot towards the hill. However, there is no one left up there anymore. Fosta has already moved over towards the 0 line, trying to spot around, see if he can get an eyes on Veggie.
This is nice. I like this. Look, Static and Warbender going up to the north at the same time. Look at the flank happening in the south. Morphic,
well, and
Felix.
This is a bit of a problem. Now, it's going to work out for him. However, they are leaving themselves to an overmatch in the north if Veggie recognizes it, essentially. They have this trap set in the south, and I think Morphic is going to come across him here in just a moment.
Yeah, but they're not looking at him. They're looking the opposite way. And there's also a little damage on the Morphic. A little damage back and forth.
Warbander's going to go ahead and head towards the cap. Static is going to stay hold down on the D-line, trying to hold off those heavy tanks. And they're trying to sell it, but however, Morphic does get lit. He escapes with 11 HP. And Ledif is going to go chase him down. He doesn't know that there's still guns in the south. However, they back off just in time to not see Ledif chase.
And they're actually going to pull Dark Ninja and Felix out. They're not going to spot them either. So just aborted strategy altogether.
On both teams, essentially, at this point. And they're going to go up towards the hill. Now, the thing is how quickly can M60s regroup, and how quickly can they get all their guns in the north to capitalize on this overmatch? Can 07 get their guns back together right now so they aren't susceptible to that very overmatch that I was just talking about?
Maybe so, but you were talking earlier a little bit about the back and forth between either cap, and in a way, Aquatic has done this themselves. They went all the way to the south and the west. Now they have to come all the way back, and they're going to be considering that the entire time.
And Fosta picks up Morphic up on the hill. Sorry to cut you off there.
Seriously, wow. What? How?
He was down to 11 HP, so Fosta just got up on the hill. He just needed to fire one shot. Got him down for free. Commodore, lurking along the ramp here, finds a nice shot onto that turret of the E100. The biggest problem with that E100 is when it's looking straight at anything, any sort of premium shell from any of these tanks will tend to pen it, or if they hit the side. And just
little nubbly on top, right?
Yep, just great shot there out of out of Commodore.
Yeah, you gotta love those.
Yep.
You can't depend on them every day, but when they finally land, they're the
And
most
now
satisfying.
07 is regrouping towards the north. Lettif is going up to the hill right now. And it looks like M60s is getting into position to counter this. So let's go here. Let's take a second and listen in to their comms.
Oh, don't do it, Felix.
You got him, Veggie?
They're gonna poke on me right now.
Yeah, well,
50B.
both of us are
Get
lit.
ready for
They're
shots
both.
right here.
Oh, you're lit. Oh, you got faster though.
Just watch Fasta, Veggie.
No, Felix has faster. Get ready for a counter push
Okay.
if they spotted the 50Bs.
They're
Yeah.
pushing.
The
They're
50
back
beats
up
are
the
probably
road.
going to be on the hill. Oh,
Interesting.
no.
Just, I'll focus through.
They're right there.
Veggie, you just hold the corner.
Fails, we got to go in right now.
Yeah.
I got the 90.
Not looking, Felix. Expo.
I'm putting it into Bander. Bander's
Here,
stacking
get
up
him.
one for Bander. I'm on load. Try and get Bander down.
I'm on load.
Felix, just just sit there. You can sit there.
Dark, just try and run if you can.
Get the
Move your
eyes
gun,
coming out.
Dark.
And 07 doing a great job there getting their guns together. They will pick up out of sight here in just a second. Warbanders should pull forward, except he's a one-shotter, so he's not going to risk it. Static's going to take the shot. He will be reloaded. He will be able to pick up out of sight, providing he doesn't miss, which he doesn't. And this is looking very good for 07. They're going to pull a point back here, you have to imagine. 3 guns left alive for M60s. They're lurking around right now, trying to find someone. Commodore is coming in behind. However, they do find Dark Ninja. They get the track. They have 3 on Cap. Cap in 15 seconds. However, Dark Ninja does pick up Static. Commodore returns the favor and takes down Dark Ninja. 15 seconds on the Cap. 4 guns still alive for 07. Felix is going to just charge in, trying to get some resets. They are going to screen the tanks with the Cap points. They finally do get it. Bales is here to cover Felix. Trade's going back and forth. This game isn't over yet. Commodore coming
Bales
in.
has to hold them off. Bales has to delay lead of Commodore and Makos long enough so that we can see that.
But they
rebound.
have 2 50Bs alive right now. They can pump out a lot of damage.
That might be enough.
And
He just
Bales
has to get away.
And now
Oh, that's not. That's
good snapshots out of those 50Bs onto Felix, and that pretty much sealed this. They were in a decent position to maybe salvage that, but as you pointed out, just Bales had needed to back up, get the cover, stay alive for a little bit longer, and buy Felix in that 50B a little bit more time to get into a second clip.
Also, to 07's credit, they didn't stall. What they could have done right then is said, "Oh, hold up. They're both over there. Give us a second. We'll deal with them." But that actually gives 07. That actually takes time. 07 needs to win. Aquatic needed time, so 07 not hesitating there, just going after the 113. Perfect play. Just appreciating the little things.
Yep, and Felix gets picked up by Commodore, and that is going to make it 3-2. 07 pulling one back. Like I said, I felt that on Tuesday they played this map uncharacteristically well for how they played it all season, and so far they're continuing the same form they had. It's it's a real pleasure to watch out of them. Actually, I really enjoy these strats. They're a little bit off meta. They say, all right, so we're going to give you some things that you're used to seeing, but it's not going to look as it actually. It's not going to appear as it actually is.
Yeah, I guess in music you call it theme and variations. You just take something and you just make a few tweaks here and there, see what it turns out to be. Whoa, 4,288 and an IS-7.
Commodore just doing work that game. Like I said earlier, he picked up a couple shots on that E100 of Mr. Man.
Gold star.
And then he was just able to just constantly pump out shots for the whole game. 14 shots fired in IS-7. That's not bad at all. Out of sight, doing pretty consistent still for M60s has really stepped up this fight. Meanwhile, Makos on that 50B, 2,500, Static in the 113, 2,200. Not bad out of a majority of the tanks of 07.
How much damage should a 50B do?
In my opinion, 2 solid clips is what you want to aim for. You want to get off that first clip unopposed, and then you need to get into that second clip and put out a whole second clip, and I think that 50B has carried its weight in that point.
What's that number about?
3,200 if it rolls at average. 1,600 a clip, 2 of them it's 3,200. If you can get into that range, pushing 3K, if not 3,200, I think that's a good and consistent round out of a 50B.
And then I guess I got to ask this one a little bit further. I really don't actually know.
Yep.
Should you be expecting let's say you bring 3, all 3 50Bs to do 3K? Or should one of them at least do 3K or two of them at least do 3K?
I would like to see, personally, I'd like to see all of them up there, at least above 2,500 in a nice range where they can really get all that burst in. However, the problem is a lot of these teams tend to slow play it, and they don't allow those 50Bs to get in positions where they can fire all their shots at once. Instead, they're stuck firing one or two shots off, then having to back off, maybe dropping their clip, getting into another. But ideally, 8 to 10 shots, doing damage to a match is good, but it really depends on how the team's set up and how they play throughout the round.
Okay. Well, here we are. Final battle of Himmelsdorf.
Will M60s move themselves to match point? Can 07 tie it up at 3 apiece? We'll have to find out. Looking at the lineups, M60s coming in with 3 113s, 2 50Bs, a Grill 15, and a 1390. Meanwhile, 07 coming in with a 113, 2 50Bs of their own, a 4005,
What's wrong with the
an
4005?
IS7, and a 1390.
What's wrong with the 4005?
I am not a big fan of it personally. It's such a big glass cannon. It does hit very hard. It is probably the better option over the 183. However, it has its benefits, and it has the HESH shells, so it can constantly do damage even if it doesn't pen. It's great for digging out hull down tanks, which you tend to see a lot on Himmelsdorf.
Why the 4005? You have another option.
Well, you have the 183, but realistically, here's what you're looking at. The 183 is supposed to have more armor. However, against these sort of players that know all the weak spots, and they all have, without a doubt, will be firing premium rounds, the armor on a 183 is essentially non-existent. Meanwhile, Mako's looking for some shots with these 113s, and they do light them.
2 shots, though, into some tanks, or into a train, and 1 into Dark Ninja. He's actually going to throw his clip on. Warbander covering him from the north, and it looks like Exo's going to move in as well. You've got this really wide spread, though, from 07. They are all the way up in the north with Static, all the way down the south with Makos. Could Aquatic take some control? Could they take a risk? Could they push forward? And even though they'd pay in health, could they take Makos, Exo, Warbander, or just maybe one of them?
And this is what I was talking about with the 113s. They sent them all towards the south. They were down here trying to see if they could open up anything. The second they spotted Makos in that 50B, they have the option to just pull out right now. And these 113s are quick enough that they can really get out of here, and they're actually all going to go towards the hill. So they're going to get up here, and they're going to reposition on the 0 line to retake that 2 cap, get up there in the A line, set up with a nice, in a good position to cap out. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is how quickly can 07 realize this is what they've done? They're all sitting passive. Fosta isn't really in an aggressive position to gather them intel. He's in a position to see if they push 8 line, but he's not going to give them any more intel past that. Makos is holding passive down at the bottom. So it depends on how quickly can 07 get a read. If M60s can get up on this hill and get into position, it's going to be extremely hard for 07 to regroup their tanks and be able to counter out this north cap.
I think 07's probably just sitting there going, they're probably going to go cap. Okay, guys, in a minute we'll go. Or in just a sec. Just wait.
Well, but here's the question to think about.
Yeah.
When do they know? We see everything. We know what's going on both sides.
Well, you know how long it's going to take. Approximately, you should know that it'll take, 2 minutes to get from the southwest where they were all the way back up north and over the hill.
Now, let's take that one step further, though. Now let's talk about counter meta. All right, so their team knows that that's how long it takes them to get up there. So say you're M60s right now. You say, all right, they should know it takes us about a minute to climb the hill, for example. What's stopping them from leaving tanks in the south in a position to lay a trap?
Exactly what they're thinking as well.
And now let's look at 07. What do they have to do against a trap? Right now it's just going to be a blind rotate the second they come over that hill, and they have to do it fast. If there was a trap, they'd be pushing right into it, and that would pretty much lose them the game.
Yep.
If they slow it down, they may not be fast enough to go stop the cap. Or they may just get lucky and push straight through, not get punished, and be able to get in position. But it's a huge risk to really leave that to this late in the game.
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot they have available. Oh, wow, nice hit for, was it 909 onto out of sight? I think so. That was a nice big hit. So they pay the toll in hit points so they can get close to the cap. They notify the 07 that they're on the way, and there's the reaction. Exo's coming back. Foss is going around the south. Camador's going to have the D line, and Makos, we'll have to see where he goes. But we should see a counter push out of 07.
Well, let's see exactly how they pull off that counter push as we go into their comms right now.
Okay.
The 113 over here, though.
Are we going or not?
I'm gonna move.
Let it. You just watch grill.
Yeah, I'm holding angle on grill. That's all I'm doing. I think I might take a blind here. I think he's peeking. I'm gonna do it.
So
I wouldn't. Okay.
I just did. Reloading.
yeah, he's gonna peek. He's gonna peek.
Yeah.
So we need to get
I
the
have 18.
Warbander across. Warbander, you need to get fucking speed, dude, and just go.
No,
Go
I
from the
thought
spot.
I'm gonna get destroyed here on the cross.
Yeah,
I thought
he's
you're
gonna
gonna,
die.
like, take
He's gonna
damage from
die.
him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how fast he is. He's gonna die.
Well, then we need our 215.
He's watching this lane. I think we can push top.
Fuck.
We can probably push
He's-
top.
Did the grill just
shot
shoot
by
you,
the
Static, and
grill.
you didn't light him? You did not light him.
Yeah, I'm trying
Moving
to
up.
get
No,
someone
the
to
grill,
save
the
me.
grill
watching
fired.
me.
The grill has fired.
Okay, do you want to
50
go
cross.
Xander?
Cross.
Yo,
50
there's
meters
also a
across, they're
50B
on the grill
north.
side.
There's also a 50B north.
Where's the grill?
He
Bounce.
bounced.
No shot. I'm reloading and moving.
Okay,
up.
right here, you're safe from everything, and then you can. Whatever.
Go right across. They're
You should
looking
all
at you.
get at the same time.
Cameron, why don't you pushing that guy?
I am not watching the grill right now. I'm watching the 50B on your left.
Nicholas, just stay safe,
Exo.
man.
Back up. He's tracked.
Patience. This 113 is pinned. This 113
We don't
is
need
pinned
to
right
keep
now.
just taking aimless damage
gonna-
right here with our 50
There's
meters.
no cap.
We just lost
There's no
2,500
cap. There's no
HP
cap.
for nothing.
Patience.
There's no cap.
50B.
I'm watching it. You're in my shot. Yeah. Pull forward.
And Morphic in the 1390 picks up Exo in that 50B and blocks in Makos, where he has to turn around now and run the other way. As I say that, out of sight does find Static. This is looking like M60's round to lose right now. 4 guns left alive for 07. Moving around, Fosta does take a huge hit from that Grill 15, and Mr. Man goes for the ram to finish him off. We were just talking about the counter push out of 07. What went wrong for him this round?
Well, I think they were saying it in the comms. They decided to push. You could see the indecision, people stalling all over the place. It didn't sound like anyone was on the same page, and that added up to a poor management of the fight. Not for anyone's individual skill, but for the fact that everyone was on a different page. Everyone was trying to go for the right push or trying to go for the attack, but no one was doing it at the same time with the same tempo, the same. They weren't. It was just out of sync.
Very disjointed is what I like to call it.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, and something that I talk about a lot that I feel people don't really appreciate is when we're watching teams like Apex and Eclipse especially, their raw coordination, just their ability to push in together, focus fire, and how quickly they take out a gun is one thing to see that they know to focus fire.
Yeah.
But it's another to look at exactly how well they do it, how quickly can they get all their guns. And when we were watching them last night, they were even calling out, all right, these 2 tanks for this one, you guys get that down. And it was that just great coordination. And looking at 07's comms here, you could hear there was a lot of indecision. I don't want to do that. I'll die, or this, or this. And it felt very disjointed out of 07 overall.
Yeah, and you can. It all is just self-evident when you hear it. Mr. Man, though, let's talk about the stats. The Grill 15, 3,974. You could hear it on the comms. People were taking hits, plenty of damage when they shouldn't have had to.
Yep. Well, even the thing that I find even more amusing about that was at one point when Mr. Man got a shot off from the hill, you hear him say, "You didn't even light him. He took damage." So I'm kind of curious to see exactly the setup that Mr. Man runs on that grill. At least on that map, was he running, say, an extra camo net to make sure he didn't get spotted? Because typically a tank that fires on that cross, even all the way against that red line, for the most part, especially as aggressive as 07 were being towards the cross, you think he would have gotten spotted from that range.
Or you're just far enough that neither of you should spot each other. And spotting anything.
It is a very, very fine line for that to happen, though.
Yeah, and you should have probably camo net or something like that in order for that to happen correctly.
Yep. So looking at it right now, M60s are 1 round away from making it to the regional finals. They are 1 round away from guaranteeing themselves $35,000 at a minimum. And 07 are 1 round away from having to play in the 5th-6th match to decide whether or not they get $18,000 or not.
Or 11.
So they still have money either way.
Pretty good.
That said, let's see what happens in our next map.
Murovanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
And we lied to you guys. We have a disconnect, so we are not into our next battle.
Bales. It's Bales. Bales DC'd. I got to head back to garage. And
so should I ask for a hashtag blame Bales in chat right now, maybe?
Hashtag blame Bales, people. Hashtag
get
blame
going.
Bales. All his fault.
It's not Dustin this time because it's not Dustin holding up the training room, so we can't blame him. So let's just go with the Bale's fault. That said,
Well, I mean, we have Ute here, like
you trip over something over there, and somehow the one cord he unplugged is
magically
it's the cord Bales is
butterflies,
coming in through.
A breeze in California, all of a sudden a butterfly in Oregon, and in wherever Bales is, I have no idea.
I know he's Ukrainian. I'm not sure if he's playing from Ukraine or if he's here in the U.S., but he's a Ukrainian national.
Why is he called Bales? I always think bales of hay, but it's not spelled that way, is it?
No, it's not.
No. I don't know. It's just such a strange name. Although what really gets me is Maktep. Maktep Putin.
Well, it's
Maktep.
Russian for master.
I know. I yelled it at you the other week all day.
Yep.
Kept saying Maktep.
Yep.
Although this map, Murrow is... I've never felt comfortable on Murrow, and I don't know how other people feel comfortable on Murrow.
It is a map that is, I want to say, the most important thing you have to master, not just as a player, but as a team on this map, is just the spotting and camo mechanics. You have to have it down to a T, or you're out of luck.
Yeah, it's actually a game of Battleship, where you're just like, all right, A4, spam, and then you see if something shows up. And guess what? Probably nothing will, because there's so many bushes to hide in, and everyone is so good at finding all of the perfect spots to hide so you can spot just everything just right at the perfect angles, that it takes you forever, even if you could guess it right in the fourth try.
Well, and the level that these teams are taking it to, I've even heard of teams recently changing around crew members and other pieces of equipment to lessen camo values or lessen their spotting range so they can mess with people as far as when they get spotted. So when someone gets used to a blind check, they poke around, they say, all right, I'm spotted, so it has to be this bush. All of a sudden, changing that up, either lowering the crew skills artificially or any number of other things they can do to kind of manipulate it with equipment, you could make it harder to figure out exactly which bush you're in.
Yeah, because most of the time, like you guys might reset your crew skills with gold because you're not trying to lose any crew skills because it's worth it. You get a crew with 4 or 5 crew skills. You want to reskill them and you want to maybe transfer to another tank. That's a decent chunk of silver if you want to do it. But if it's gold, it's pretty cheap then, and so you just buy a little gold in the store and then boom, you're good to go.
Yep. So that said, let's take a second while we're waiting for this next battle.
Yeah.
M60s right now. They're sitting here. They are one battle away from qualifying for the regional finals.
Okay.
For a shot at $90,000.
Sweet.
And past that, a trip to the Rumble. Challengers Rumble.
Also really sweet.
Also, that'll be in November sometime. Look for details on that. That said, really close. What's going through their minds right now?
How to win. And also, I think they got it. They're probably feeling pretty confident right now. What do you think?
It kind of depends upon the team. M60s, the biggest question mark for me is they've kind of been real shaky at points during the season. Matches that you think they're going to win, such as get flanked.
Yeah.
Matches where you think they should have it and they should have that confidence, they don't. And other matches versus teams much bigger than that, they're fine. So M60s are a team where I just don't know what to expect out of them.
You don't know why they're on or they're off. They just could be.
It's very hard to tell. Now, you've talked about Fosta before for 07 and whether or not he's feeling it. Do you think that maybe it has something to do with Felix? And if Felix feeling it and gelling well, that the whole team plays well? Do you think he has that big an influence on the team?
You know what? We didn't find out about that. We have no idea if Felix is back and okay or if he's back and a little bit shaky. But battle is about...
Felix is playing. So I saw Kia's here, and they're up 4-2, so things are going well for him. That said, lineup's coming in. M60's coming in with a T57. Fosta isn't moving, and we have another disconnect call this time. Hashtag blame Fosta. Let's get it going.
All right, so that's a disconnect confirmed?
And, yep.
All right, that's it. Back to garage. And that'll happen sometimes. I mean, it just does. We do a few tests every day at the beginning of the matches because you get enough players together with when it's a professional match, and for some reason, there's always one guy who has internet issues. This time it's 2, so special day for everybody, yay. But there's always one guy who's having an issue. There's a tornado, or a hurricane, or the police have raided your home because someone decided to swat you, whatever. It's something every time. It's always an excuse.
Or just, I need to run to the hospital right now, which is what I think happened on Tuesday.
Excuses.
Well, either way, whatever happened to Felix, shout out to you, bud. Hope you're feeling better. I mean, you're playing really well right now, so hopefully that means that you are feeling better and you are playing well right now. So
yeah, we kid, but it's really...
If anyone has to take a trip to the hospital, It's never a good day. So
It's not. It's actually it's really kind of scary because sometimes someone just had to go to the hospital. You have to listen to them and be like, guys, I have to go now. Bye. And then
you don't know anything.
You're just wondering. You're just wondering. And you listen to these guys every day. You watch them play every day. You get to know everything about the way that they. I don't know. I kind of like to read people by the way they play tanks. You can tell a lot about them by their little behaviors, and I don't know. You start to remember that, and I don't know. Even though I haven't met him yet, he just seems like a cool guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's take a second. Well, we have a little bit more time to kill, I think.
Maybe a second. We should be able to get back in once everyone's reconnected, and hopefully that's happening shortly. Fingers crossed.
So confirming, I think they're actually going to test it real quick to make sure we don't have another disconnect. So we will have a minute, it looks like. So let's go ahead and take a second and talk about our next match for a second.
Okay.
Deja Vu versus Rival.
Deja Vu Rival. Well, they're sitting on the bench right now. They're waiting. They're watching this match with a little bit of a delay, and they're probably thinking about what's coming on up. They know that this is going to be a close match, so they're probably prepping all of their counters. They're probably trying to make sure that everyone possible from the roster is there, ready to go and warming up, and we'll have to just wait and see. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Deja Vu. I'd give the edge to them. Before I heard what I've heard tonight, which they're going to be missing a couple of their key players, so it becomes a very even fight at that point, and you have to think Rival have the experience to really capitalize on that. That said, we'll find out about that in a little bit. We are going to take a quick break real quick while we sort out these technical issues, and so we'll be back in about 3 minutes, give or take. We'll update you as we know more. And we are back. Technical issues appear to be sorted out. We are going back into game in just a moment here. It is 4-2 in favor of M60s. 07 need to put 2 points up on the board to force overtime right now. Otherwise, it is them not going to the finals. It will be M60s going to the finals on October 22nd here in Burbank for their chance to play for $90,000.
And that's a lot of money, guys, split between 10 dudes. Good chunk of change to take home. Now, 07 has to win everything. Every battle we are about to start. Battle 1 of Murro. Thank you guys for standing by for some of those technical issues as we get ready to head right on into battle.
Yep, and looking at the lineups, once again, no lineups changed from the last time that we played.
Yep.
Once there's a disconnect, roster tanks are locked. They cannot switch anything around. M60s coming in with 3 T57s, an IS-7, a Bat Chat, and 2 Tier 9 bats. Meanwhile, 07 coming in with an E5, 2 T57s, 3 Bat Chats, and an AMX 1390. Can M60s close it out right now? It is 07 actually on defense. M60s do have to attack right now. Looking at their lineup, they actually have an IS-7.
What's this from 07? This is interesting. See, Mr. Man out of sight Morphic over in the north side. We've got 3 of them just kind of cluster around this group of buildings, rather far back, to be honest.
And look at this push coming out of 07. They're pushing up the 7 line right now. Oh, and these tanks for 07 are starting to move. Or M60s, they're pulling back right now.
Oh, yeah, and excuse me, a moment ago, I should have been saying aquatic, not 07.
Yeah, 07 are
bad.
pushing through the forest right now. They're stopping at about E8. They have pretty good map control. Fossa is over towards the cap. Try and spot these guys. Felix will push around onto cap. He does get spotted, so they know he's there.
I like this, though. Notice he was kind of avoiding going right into cap. He didn't want to give everything away, just in case they were watching. So, I like those little plays. And then Felix, he's actually going to go up and over, peeking. And that's going to be actually a lot of info for him, because he's going to spot Commodore. He's going to take fire from his, east, his left. And that's Exo and Warbandor. You mentioned them a moment ago in the forest.
Yep, and looking at this is a 07 are in a very good position. They have Commodore in this E5 sitting over here at G1, and so he's sitting here. He's going to be pretty much impossible to kill. An E5 fall down.
Morphic is getting really low. That's going to be a static gets the kill.
Tank goes down. All the Bat Chats there able to find the shots, as well as the T57s who managed to pick him up. And now 07 are in a very good position. The rest of the tanks for M60s are going to go ahead and push onto cap right now.
Although, look at this. Voss is jumping on up. He's going to take 480 right to the face. He's going to have to back off a little bit. Dark is going to take a little bit in exchange, but that's going to be cap control going to aquatic. They're moving Mr. Man out of sight in to back him up, but here comes the rest of
57's trading shots right now. They're putting a lot into Bales. 1,600 into Bales. 2,000, and he goes down to Letif.
Although Fawcett takes one for 407. Can a second shell come in? Ooh, he's going to sneak one out and back off. Oh, Commodore is being focused on the far side.
These Bat Chats have just dumped over into the C5. They knew he was there, isolated alone, so they're taking the easy overmatch, and they pick up Commodore. Meanwhile, the rest of the tanks for 07 are closing right now. M60s are down by about 3,000 HP. Exo picking up some damage onto the T57. Veggie about to go down.
This is going to 07. 07's got it. They've got the momentum. They've got the reloads. Everything from aquatic.
And they have the position. That's the other thing to look at here. All of a sudden, M60s are stuck in the low ground, almost completely surrounded. And these Bat Chats from 07 are just going to push down the 4 line. They're going to make them and just leave them in this crossfire that they have no easy way out of. The only saving grace is they have Mr. Man in that backfield opening up that crossfire.
Yep, that's it. It's a matter of time right now. 07 has this. It's theirs to win. Wait for the reloads. Foster's almost up. Exo's almost up. Once that happens, they're going to move right around the south. Mr. Man over there is reloaded. He is rejoining everyone. But really, is that going to mean anything? Is he going to be able to make that kind of a difference? Because Dark is getting focused down. There's the pressure. There's the damage. One more
and they just have the HP to just push over and take the shells. They do finish off Dark Ninja. 2 guns left alive.
Mr. Man's going to get one.
Felix is going to get focused out next, and that just leaves Mr. Man going to be focused down. It's going to make this series 3-4, still in favor of M60s. However, 07 still showing they have something left in the tank, as you will.
In the tank. Okay. I got to give it to him. 07, I thought it was going to be a loss. I really did. 2-4 usually says probability you're not going to win. You have to win one, then the other. Now you got to do a tiebreaker, and now you got to hope that you had the fastest win on attack because Himmelsdorf is the tiebreaker today. So you want your side. And with 07, Himmelsdorf, I mean, they do not want attack at all. Attack is very bad for 07 in a tiebreaker.
Now, here's two things to look at here. First, 07 just called a timeout, so we'll have an additional minute here. Once again, sorry for the delays, but this time it is not a technical issue. It is one of the teams wanting to take a second to kind of look over their strategy. Another thing that I just looked down while I look at the stats I have for them.
Yeah.
07 are 4-1 on Murovanka attack, which is what they're going into right now. Looking at the damage, Mr. Man able to do 3,100 damage over 9 shots.
Well, it's Mr. Man. We've talked about him. He's been an all-star.
So consistent all season. Meanwhile, Exo, Ledif, and Makos all doing very good damage in those T57s and Batchat. And then Static and Kamador, even Kamador, who got focused out very early, still able to put up 1,500. Good shooting there.
And then poor Warbender.
Fosta, 1,400 and a 1,390. That is respectable.
Yeah.
Does that make you proud as a scout player?
It does. It's good to see you play a scout, Boston. It's good to see the scouts are still doing it. It's just brings a tear to my eye.
Yep. No, it's been a long time for you.
I come from being a scout. For those of you who don't, it's what I did. All I did was drive light tanks, sometimes mediums, sometimes, and very occasionally arty.
But this was way back in the days when things were 742. They were a lot slower, and you had a lot more open maps where
but a lot
scouts
of
could be
the
a lot more
concepts apply is where I feel like I can actually sit here and say anything that means anything. Is that most of what's going on is relevant. The core mechanics have just about been there. You just have to keep up with the way that they change. The tanks from whatever tier it is, it doesn't really matter that it's tier 10 and then it's a different story when you get to tier 8. It's that there's just different tanks at tier 10 that are better. You throw a bunch of better tanks up at tier 10. Yeah, it's the same though. In the end of the day, I can translate most of it. You can actually see almost direct translations on some of these tanks.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying I know everything here, but like you could, if you knew 742 or you know another tier, you can compare anything you're seeing here to a lower tier. You can take some of these tier 10s and be like, all right, what's the tier 4, tier 3 equivalent? And that's where you can get some lessons out of watching people play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we are just a few seconds away from going into our next battle.
Just wait, man. It's going to happen. Just wait for the lineups. Once you see this, you're going to be actually not that surprised. It's pretty normal. But
a few interesting picks here, which we'll get into in just a moment. The biggest one that sticks out to me comes from the side of M60s. 3 Batchats, a 215B, an IS-7, a T-57, and a 1390. Meanwhile, M60s, 07, 2 57s, a 113, 3 Batchats, and an AMX 1390.
Now, with Aquatics one, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. With an IS-7 and an FV, I've always felt weird about this. I thought 2 57s and then pick an FV or pick an IS-7 as an either or. But having an IS-7 and an FV and one T-57, I'm not. It's one of those like I don't. It's not bad, but doesn't it seem like the 2 T-57s as a pair is quite potent?
So the biggest thing that'll bring is I'll just bring knockdown power for M60s. Now, provided it's not 2, like you said, so it's not 3,200 damage. However, it's 1,600 damage that can be pumped out in a matter of 6 seconds essentially.
Yeah.
So if you think about it in that regards, that's 1,600 damage downrange. As long as there's guns around, then they can clean up those kills. And normally it's that just initial damage that 57 gets off that is enough to really tip it in their favor.
Okay.
Now that said, 2 57s like we have out of 07, that's 3,200 damage downrange in 6 seconds. That's a lot of firepower. And the biggest thing that teams have really failed to capitalize this season is once those 57s hit their clip, they have 22 seconds before they're reloaded again.
And 20 seconds, I think, is a very manageable amount of time. Because next to what you would compare, like a Batchat or a 50B, you've got a very manageable reload. And with that, you can do these kind of skirmishes as opposed to full engagements and then having to very formally disengage, as it were.
Yep, and looking at it, Warbander's sitting over at E1. Kamador is on the cap, applying the cap pressure. Cap is down to 72, so they need to make sure that they protect him and screen him so he doesn't get reset.
Yep, and then I like this. Morphic's going to go for some spotting. He finds Fosta. He's might even be able to bait Fosta out because you've got some Batchats just behind him backing up. Fosta's going to come in for an attack, or maybe Static or Exo tries to jump in there and get a quick kill, they might get caught out for it. But 52 on the cap. Out of sight might have to move up. Felix as well in order to stop the cap if this gets too close.
Yep, out of sight, sitting there at G1, doing the same thing that we saw out of Bales in that E5. However, Commodore in that 113 does get reset, and he takes a lot of damage, 800.
Although their scout, Morphic, is really low. If he gets taken down, they might lose sight of Commodore, and there's not a lot of shells that are connecting.
They're connecting, they're just not penetrating. Those Bat Chats just not able to get through that front plate.
Nice angling from Commodore. So good reaction from Commodore. There goes Fosta. Dark Ninja taking him down. That was what we were talking about. They might focus out him. And that's going to be, is that Makos and Lidif moving up to attack? They aren't actually finding a target, though. That could work in favor of Aquatic.
And I like this out of 07. They're going to go ahead and push through. They're going to take the whole control out of this 3-line. The biggest thing is out of sight is still alive in that IS-7 behind them. Exo is going to come over here and join Warbandor. I expect to see these Bat Chats push over onto this IS-7 to make sure they clean him out here in just a moment. That said, it looks like up in the north, the Static's going to get focused out by the Bat Chats. They're going to push in, and they should isolate him. He goes down. He's down to 577, 190, and he gets focused out.
But look at it. He forced the Bat Chats to move into a position that 07 can deal with. He kind of just baited them in. Now you're going to see Veggie taking a lot of damage from Makos and from Commodore. Oh, but there goes Felix. Commodore is down. Bales is down, and that's going to be 3-on-4.
And Makos looking for a shot, but he doesn't get it. Mr. Man takes him out. 07 in the driving seat right now. They are up by about 1,500. 2 guns left alive. Can they close this out? Can they claw it back in? Or is this going to go to overtime?
07 has every reason to take this to a tiebreaker. Every single.
They have Ledif still alive in a T-57. Full HP, just getting into his second clip right now. Exo is a little bit low at 970. However, he is going to back up behind the other 3 guns, and I like this out of 07. They're not doing anything crazy. They're just all sitting in one giant ball right now. If any of these 2 Bat Chats come in, they're going to be able to get all 3 of their guns together onto the same target.
Yes, but look at this. 07, here's the way you pressure the cap in this scenario. You've got Lidif, similar concept to what you see on the way that we always attack cap. Find the cover from whatever angle of fire. Lidif is focused on looking to his east.
He's looking across the F line right now, making sure nothing rotates in there. Now the Bat Chats are getting up onto the high ground, sitting here at F3. Now, if they're going to be able to spot this rotate coming out in the south is another thing.
Mr. Man, when he crosses along the red line, actually, he could
Dark
dodge
Ninja's-
getting spotted. I think he actually might be able to.
Dark Ninja took a great route. He got in there unspotted. He's going to be able to light for Mr. Man, and Mr. Man should be able to get off some free shots onto 07.
And Mr. Man could actually hide quite far back in the southwest magical forest and actually be able to pump out some damage.
He does get spotted though.
Ah, he kept going. That's where I disagree with this.
The difficult thing there is, well, there's a lot of cover. The terrain is so rocky, it's really hard to find good shots. And Mr. Man takes the shot as he bounces one onto Exo. Exo doesn't bounce in return. Warbandor joins in. They are tag teaming Mr. Man down right now. 1,500. He has 1 shot left alive. Safe for right now. There goes Dark Ninja. Mr. Man is going to get picked up here in just a minute. Great shot there out of that T-57 by Ledif. And this is tied 4-4. We are going to overtime.
All right, wait for the admins to calculate fastest attack, and we'll see.
As soon as we get the word of who had the fastest attacking victory, we will let you guys know. Like Randall said before, it is Himmelsdorf as the tiebreaker.
Which is a dangerous map, I was saying, for 07. Because when I look down at their record for attack, I see 2 and 6, right? 2 wins, 6 losses on attack. Now on defense, they're, what is it? I've got my notes here. I've got 1 and 6. So really, Himmelsdorf overall is not worked out for them. So,
however, what this doesn't take into account is earlier tonight. They've already played pretty well on Himmelsdorf. I believe they split it 1-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they split it 1-1. It looks like that was meaningful, but I don't know if that's enough of a warm-up to say anything's really changed.
Now, here's the other thing, is it is M60s to get to pick the sides.
Okay.
And right now, let's see here. We're still waiting. Oh, they're M60s. Listen to this. M60s are going to choose to take attack on Himmelsdorf.
What?
M60s are choosing to attack.
Really? That's... Why? Why would you...
Maybe they have something up their sleeve?
No, okay, here's what they're doing. Okay, I get it. So you're on a tiebreaker, right? your opponent's like, okay, they're going to start predicting what you're going to do. They're going to say, okay, what are our most probable strats? Or, what comes to mind is what they'll do. I'll pick a strat based on that. Will I go with a very straightforward strategy like we've always gone with? Or are we going to go with something a little bit more off the wall, crazy? If you're attacking and you choose attack, what you're going for is you're telegraphing, we're going to do a cap fast. That's it. You're just going to cap fast. That's it.
So we'll have to see if that comes into play. And something I do want to remind people here real quick. I didn't say this earlier, but I want to mention it now.
Yes.
Ready for a fun fact?
What is it?
07 have never won a playoff match before. This is their third season, and they have not won a playoff match before. They are one round away from upsetting the third seed of AM60s. They came back from being 4-2 down to tie it up 4-4 to force overtime. This could be 07's first victory in playoffs ever.
So this is a match of firsts, really, right? So Aquatic in previous seasons hasn't gotten this far, right?
They have made it to playoffs, and they have won it. They have never actually made it to the regional finals. Now that I think about it.
Okay, so this is their chance too.
Yep. So
but
both teams fighting for a lot here.
All right. So it's a historic moment for them. Like as a team that isn't used to succeeding all the time, when you finally do get to playoffs, it's a really big deal. Like you got to give them credit for that. It's like gold star. Throw some confetti. Like good job. Like yay.
Yep. That said, we are on to our tiebreaker map up next.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
I even mashed it up. That said, we are on to our tiebreaker battle, battle number 9. The winner of this match gets to go to the regional finals. They get the shot to play for $90,000 still. The loser, the best they can get is $18,000. A lot on the line right now.
That said, tank lineups.
AM60s coming in with 3 113s, 2 50Bs, a grill, and an AMX 1390. 07 coming in with 2 113s, an IS-7, 2 50Bs, a 4005, and a 1390 of their own. AM60s are taking everything up the hill right out of the gates. Mr. Man,
told you,
going for from free shots across the G line. Yes, you were right, Randall. Yes, you told me they're going to go for a cap fast. They're going all up and over. Meanwhile, 07 are playing heavy in the south right now. They have no one left in the north. Fosta has some vision down the south right now in the middle on the ledge right there. Other than that, the rest of them have committed down the 2 line. Morphic does get spotted up on the hill. No one is in position to punish him yet. And these tanks just stacking up, getting ready to go over. They will go up and over. It is all or nothing for AM60s right now. They're going to send all their tanks to the cap. They're going to get the cap pressure going, and they're going to hope the response out of 07 isn't enough.
And this is up to 07. Did 07 actually read this? Did they actually see this coming? Is this a part of their plan to be in the southwest just in case? This could be a cap fast in the southwest. Okay, if it's not that, let's go back up north. We'll have it.
And they're going to split up right now. They're going to get set up in position to cap out on this 2 cap. They're going to send a lot of their tanks to the C7 line alley.
And then statics back. Okay, statics up north. This is good. This is good for 07. 07 can actually do something with this because there's the cap.
And Lettuce coming to back him up right now.
Oh, and the shot.
Static, a great shot. Was he even spotted?
Nope, that was blind. Completely blind. Morphic just caught it. Hail Mary, just
wow,
easy.
That said, cap pressure is building up. 55 seconds. They have 2 tanks on to cap. They have Felix up in the north. Now Morphic is going to go ahead and get in behind Dark Ninja there. The response is coming out of 07. They're shifting back up the 2 line, but is it going to be fast enough? They need to get here very fast. We talked about this earlier. While it is relatively easy to set up on one of these caps and have a very good defense, it is very hard to be able to cover both caps easily. Right now, they have to respawn. 13 seconds left on the clock. Can 07 get here in time to get the reset? Down to 9 seconds. 8 seconds.
Foster's going to have to go around the corner and just aim.
He's going to fire it off. He gets 1 reset. He resets it a little bit. However, they haven't hit Morphic. Reset's coming out.
There's Morphic. Morphic's down. That's going to slow the cap pressure. That's going to mean Aquatic has to react. They have to stop putting pressure on the cap, and they have to focus on the brawl.
And Trey's going back and forth. Veggie getting a lot of damage put into him, but Bales does pick up Fosta.
Out of
back and
sight.
forth.
He just missed a shot at almost point blank. That's going to actually...
And now Mr. Man's coming in behind. Mr. Man's going to put a huge shot into Makos, put him down to a one-shotter. However,
takes
out of
that
sight,
base.
misses a shot. Exo picks up Bales. This is back and forth stuff. 07 are in the lead on HP. Guns are even. Warbandor getting focused out in that 113. Back and forth stuff here. Lettuce Commander goes down. Mr. Man coming in. The guns are actually in favor of 07 right now.
Yes, they
Dark
are.
Ninja takes down Warbandor. Static takedowns are Dark Ninja. Mr. Man just trying to get involved here. Puts a shot into Static.
This 50B is where Aquatic has a chance. They have to take down Static. That's what Veggie just do. One more shell could do it. He's got 427.
He's going to go for the ramp. He's trying to block him. And let it fix up Mr. Man in that 4005.
That should be it.
Veggie's holding the shot. He's trying to pick up a kill.
He's not going to be able to...
Commodore gets it. 07 are about to take this out from underneath M60s.
Oh my gosh, 834 hit points on Felix. He gets one kill. That's not going to be enough. Commodore has too much hit points. Exo, Ledev, between the three of these guys, it's over.
07 are about to get their first playoff win ever.
And all day, everyone was saying, all right, guys, seriously, I'm going to go with Aquatic. People going, okay, I don't want to be the guy that says the David versus Goliath, the underdog will prevail, because most of the time it doesn't happen.
Felix gets spotted. This shot comes out. However, Ledif did a good job. He's over towards the 8 line. He is ready to cut Felix off. Ledif has that Doom Cannon. He's looking for it, and Felix doesn't spot him yet. He doesn't know he's here.
Oh, it'll be a surprise and everything.
He is spotted now. He gets a shot. He doesn't penetrate. Only 754 damage. Ledif going for the ram. Not able. A couple missed shots. And down it goes. Exo picks it up. And 07 take the victory in overtime.
Nice. That is a satisfying end right there. 07 coming back from, what was it, 3-4-1? Taking it to a tiebreaker. And then on Himmelsdorf, of all things, which if you guys were listening a little while ago, we were talking about how absolutely horrible 07's record was on Himmelsdorf.
They showed up Tuesday. They said, all right, we figured out how to play Himmelsdorf all of a sudden on the last match day of the regular season. And now they get a win in overtime to secure their spot to the regional finals for $90,000.
What do you think, man? What do you think of that gameplay from 07? Like, was that actually on point? Is this a day where 07's really shown us some growth, some change? Or what about Aquatic? They didn't seem too shabby to me. What was going on?
Across the board, 07 just had a lot of just great strats from a lot of different angles. Murovanka, they played very well. I love those strats on Murovanka. They got 2 back-to-back wins on Murovanka. Good stuff there. I like both the plays. Very creative stuff we haven't seen before, and show that they just have their fundamentals on Murovanka down. Himmelsdorf, they get 2 out of 3 on it, including the overtime tiebreaker. A map that before tonight, 07 was sitting at 5-12 on Himmelsdorf overall, and they managed to pick up 2 out of 3 on it tonight. Just absolutely great stuff out of 07. And just look at the damage here. Bales doing 1,600. He's been so consistent this season. It's a little bit disappointing to see them crash out of the playoffs like this. However, you got to give your hats off to 07.
Now, you missed it on the first slide of the damage. There was actually, thank you very much.
No, this is total for the whole series. And look at this. Exo just going huge through this whole series.
That last battle got, what was it, 3,300?
3,300 in that 4,005. Meanwhile, Commodore picked up 3,000 himself in an IS-7. And looking at it, Exo, almost 1,900 damage through the whole series. Picked up 8 kills the whole time. Meanwhile, Felix also putting up 1,800. But then Mako's 1,600. And then look who is coming in there in 4th, Mr. Man. He's been so consistent this whole season. And then finishing up the first page, out of sight at 13,000.
Now, that's interesting to look at, though. Average damage-wise, you could look at Aquatic and say they had more people in and around top damage on this match. But 07 just kind of did the little things here and there. They hung on just long enough to get the win, even though I don't know what the totals are for either team, but it feels like Aquatic might be one of those matches where Aquatic curiously did more damage than 07, but still even lost.
Well, another thing to look at here is 07 were down 4-2. 4-2 going into Murrow.
Yeah.
They won 3 straight rounds to beat M60s in overtime to secure their spot to the finals.
Yeah. And we were pretty worried about them because earlier in the series they were on maps that were not favored for them. So they just took the losses, took the beating, and just kind of recovered from it.
And that includes 2 losses on Mines.
Yeah.
Which that's been M60's map, and it didn't fail them tonight. They picked up those wins.
Yeah, so they won where they should win. They won in the places that we were confident they would win in, but they just weren't able to keep it up in the long term in that match. 07 had, what is it? We saw the pregame interview, the face-off practice. I don't know what they really did, but I guess...
Now, here's another thing to look at, a little interesting food for thought in a way.
Yeah.
Lettuce just joined this roster about 3 weeks ago. Before that, they were terrible in Himmelsdorf. Now, all of a sudden, Lettuce comes in. They talk about how he's adding some, calling ability and helping with the strats. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, 07 are, I don't want to say great, but they're competent on Himmelsdorf.
Well, they learned. They practiced and they trained. So it's like, we'll have to ask. I want to know where they got the strat. I just want to know if they learned it, if they just started studying, because you just watch enough of the other regions. You watch the Russian stream and the European stream. This is happening about the same time, so you can just pull both up at the same time, get your double world tanks going on, and just figure it out. Other regions are doing similar strategies, similar executions, and there's plenty to pick up just from sitting back and watching.
Yeah, well, now it's one thing to watch, which is great, but getting out there and executing is a whole different ballgame. There's so many little parts you really have to master. You can have a good overall understanding of the strat, but being able to pull that all together is another ballpark altogether. That said, we are trying to reach someone from 07 to talk to them. We're having a few technical difficulties, so we'll let you know when that is up.
Yeah.
That said, with 07 now being the third team going to the regional finals, make sure you get your tickets. Eventbrite, they will once again put that URL up in the bottom in just a moment. Get your tickets. Space is limited.
Yep.
However,
First 100 people are going to, I believe, have their opportunity at some giveaways. More details on that to follow. You can probably check out the Eventbrite. I think those have the details on what exactly. It's the 1357. 57.
Premium tank. Great little thing. Annoying gun that can really harass people. It's a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, I still have mine. It's nice. I like the white stripe on the side. The
little racing stripe on a nice little light tank. You would
it
like
makes
that.
it go fast. You got to paint it red.
I want to go fast, Mommy.
Exactly. You got to paint it red, makes it go a little faster. Put a little stripe on it. Now you're cool.
Yep. That said, the other thing is just remember, in general, regional finals, October 22nd. Doors open at 10:30. First game, I believe, is at 11.
Yep.
Be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Myself, Randall, Dustin, the whole crew will all be here. And so far, we know that Apex, Eclipse, and 07 will be here. Once again, down there in the bottom. There you go. Get it down. Get your tickets. Register. It's here in Burbank. Nice Southern California. Little bit hot right now, but overall, beautiful place.
A little bit hot. This is a little bit hot. Now, actually, I do want to talk about Aquatic while we have a moment, because Aquatic's story for this season isn't over. They do have one more match tonight. So after our next match, which is going to be a Deja Vu rival, they're actually going to be playing the loser of that match.
And that, like we said earlier, is essentially a $7,000 match. That is the difference between $18,000 for 5th place and $11,000 for 6th. So we'll have to see what happens there. That said, we finally do have someone from 07 on Skype. I am not even sure who it is. Let's find out.
There it is. We have Meadow and Mr. Man back. Guys, welcome. That was one heck of a match. I want to start with 07. Meadowhawk, what's going on?
All about the practice.
Yeah, I want to ask about
It's all
that
about
practice.
the practice.
Because you guys got
it
stuff
was it was real touch and go there. Obviously, like you guys said, mines. We thought we prepped for them, but they showed us that they are the king of mines. At that point, I had to put the rally tie on because we were in dire straits. Then after some disconnect issues on Murovanka, maybe the ping gods were helping us out there, but everything went smooth after that.
What did you do to motivate your team when things got tough?
I drank a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
That's about it.
It
was all Fosta. I mean, Fosta and Letif, like I said before, and I said it in the Facebook Live video that I did, Letif is a great pickup. Even though he's a caller, he's another chief, but he's a very even keel caller. So he's able to kind of calm people down and get people refocused. And I'm super excited that we're finally going to a live final.
So something I do want to ask you real quick to follow that up about Letif Meadowhawk. Earlier we were talking about Himmelsdorf. Previously this season, you guys have played not the greatest on Himmelsdorf. You really struggled on it. And then all of a sudden, the last couple weeks, since you added Letif, your Himmelsdorf game has become pretty good. Do you attribute that just to Letif? Is it the whole team? What's going on there?
I think it's a collaboration. We've really kind of, because Himmelsdorf used to be our map. As Full Potato and Fear, like, Himmels was feared. They always got banned by us. This year, I think the change of the meta with the 4005 and the grills and stuff has kind of thrown us for a loop. But we're finally learning it and, finally picking it up. Obviously, we won both attacks, so... or won... Well, yeah, because I can't remember how. We won our attack.
You won an attack, you lost the defense, and then you won another defense after that.
Defense, that's right. They tried to pull one over on us, but we fixed up. I mean, Warbander crossing and getting nuked didn't help that first defense.
It happens.
So that said, Mr. Man, you guys were up 4-2. It was looking good for you guys. What happened?
I think it was just a Murro pick, honestly. We haven't played all season, and we practice it. We've been practicing it for a couple weeks, but
Yeah, you guys literally have one battle on record, right?
For it.
One battle.
Because it was a tiebreaker battle.
I think that's it. That's
yeah.
Nothing aside from that. So were you guys strategically, I guess, banning it up until this point?
Initially, we were just banning it because we didn't like to play it, but then we started working on it for a couple weeks, and we thought we were ready, but we weren't. So,
all right. Well, you still have another match to go later tonight. You will play the loser of Deja Vu versus Rival. So we wish you the best of luck there. Once again, thank you for joining us. It's been great to have both of you. Sadly, we only get to see one of you at the regional finals, which is going to be Meadowhawk in 07. Thank you both for joining us, and good luck.
It was a pleasure to watch your match. All right.